God, what am I doing? Okay. All right, we got it. Oh my God. The fan is on behind me. I bet you that's going to be loud. Here, let me just put these in. We'll switch it up. Okay. I think this will help. So I just wanted to do an update on where I am at with body weight, weight loss, whatever, life in general. As you can see, I just got back from the CrossFit Games. I'm very tan. I got back on Monday morning, so the games ended on Sunday. Laura Horvath is our new queen. It was good. The programming was a little bit like, I don't know. It was a little bit like I was having a hard time like getting into it, but I was really happy to see Laura finally win the CrossFit Games. Obviously with Tia Toomey out this year, and like Mal O'Brien is also out, and so it was definitely a different type of a race right to the finish this year than I think we would have had if Mal and Tia were also there. So, but that doesn't take anything away from Laura. Like, she's obviously worked very hard to get where she's at, and we're all very happy for her. So, and then Jeff Adler won on the men's side. Ariel Lowen, who is the fittest mom in America, took third place, and she was she's one of those quiet warriors, right? She just works really hard, and then bam, all of a sudden she's on the podium. So really awesome for her. And then Emma Lawson, who's Canadian, took second, and she's quite young. I think she is maybe slightly younger than Mal O'Brien, was last year when she got on the podium. If not, they're right about the same age. And then on the men's side, again, Jeff Adler from Canada, Patrick Vellner from Canada, and then Roman Krennikov took third place even after breaking his foot in one of the events and basically just, fighting through the last two events or whatever. Sorry, the kitten's playing with me. Fighting through the last two events with that. And he still ended up even getting no points, basically, still ended up taking third. So that was really awesome. But they have decided to move the CrossFit Games to where we don't know. That is a TBD, although it does sound like based on Dave Castro. Oh, hi, kitten. Here he is. Based on Dave Castro's comments at the press conference after the CrossFit Games, it does sound like, here, play with your brush. It does sound like they will be staying in the United States for at least, I would say at least the next 3 years. It doesn't sound like they are ready to move it internationally, which was my hope when they announced, kind of surprise on the first day of the CrossFit Games, that just kidding, we were not keeping the games in Wisconsin for one more year. They had given a verbal award to Madison earlier this year after they said, oops, just kidding about Birmingham. But they never actually signed a contract. So they are going to move it to where, again, we don't know. I suspect wherever it goes, it will be somewhere that is already equipped to handle this and who can do it with less overhead for CrossFit, because CrossFit is not doing super hot financially. So my guess is they will try to, reduce some costs. I think it's going to look very different for the next few years. And then I think they take it overseas. So I'm non-committal on whether or not I'm traveling to the games next year. I would really like to go. Actually just hung up with my financial advisor. I just hung up with him to talk about how could I possibly save enough money to go to Australia in May to go to the Torium Pro, which is the Oceania semifinal, which is a fantastically well-run event. And then maybe come back and go to the CrossFit Games in August. But like I said, I'm just kind of non-committal. Just kind of depend on where they put it. It's expensive to go. And, we're talking in excess of $3,000, right? If you include hotel, your ticket to the event, food, I brought a lot of stuff with me this year, snuck things in, don't tell anybody. But, driving, gas, hotel, all of that. And then, so if that's already over $3,000, imagine adding a flight to that. So now you're probably talking well in excess of $4,000. And it's just sort of unless I can find, if it happens to be in a city where I know someone, I can stay with them, or something where I can reduce that cost. But I just don't know if I want to travel to some random place, right? In the United States. I've seen a lot of the country, obviously not all of it. But I just don't know. So we'll see. But definitely right now, my primary goal is saving enough money to be able to go to Brisbane at the end of May. So I will keep you posted. So anyway, I just wanted to film a quick video about where I'm at with weight loss. So the last 5 weeks have been, I would say, pretty good, like not crazy, a little hectic. Work is picking up. I don't have this pen in my hand, but work is picking up a little bit. I was gone for the games. Like, obviously I went to Madison. I was there for over a week. The cats are doing good. Both Bear Grace and Kitty had vet appointments because Kitty's vet's still in Madison because we lived there for 9 years. And so I decided to make Kitty's vet Bear Grace's vet because I really do like his vet. And it's sort of like picking a pediatrician for your kid. Like, I trust this person, and we've been through so much with Kitty, and I don't mind driving an hour and 10 minutes, like, to bring Bear Grace to the vet for a checkup once a year. And then obviously if there was an emergency or something, I would just take him to the emergency vet here. Like, there's no reason for me to drive him all the way there. So that's what we're going to do. But Kitty had lab work done, and his labs are great. He has one kidney level, and I forget which one it was, that's a little bit elevated, but the rest are normal. So we don't have to change his food or anything like that. And then, I was kind of hoping that, Dr. Taylor would like to, clean his teeth, but because of his age, there are concerns, because he's 17, there are concerns about putting him under anesthesia unnecessarily. So he will never have to have his teeth cleaned again unless he has an oral issue, like his teeth are broken or infection or something like that. So we won't put him under again for the rest of his life, whatever that might be. So, but yeah, so little Kitty's going to get neutered at the end of September. Yeah, and that's where we are with that. So anyway, let's talk about this. So I will pop screenshots in here, somewhere up here. So on, I think it was July 13th is when I was there. I'd have to look at my thing. I forget the date. I think it was the 13th. I weighed in at 196.4. So that was like a 5-pound loss from the 2 weeks prior, which was quite a bit. And I was shocked. I was like, the hell? That's a lot. That's over 2 pounds in 2 weeks, right? Over the course of those 2 weeks. So it's 2.5 pounds each week. And that's quite a bit, right? So I think that had a lot to do with the training cycle and where we were at that time, because we had a deload, and I think it was just where we were, right? So I think a lot to do with training. I don't think anything was particularly different about my nutrition in those 2 weeks. I mean, maybe a little bit less carbohydrates, maybe, but nothing that I was consciously doing or deliberately doing in that 2 week prior to lead to that significant of a loss. So super happy with that. And then I get into these 5 weeks, which really should have been 4, but it was 5 because I was traveling. Obviously I was gone last week. So I went to check in with my coach today. We met this morning at 10:30. It's about 4:45 right now. I have no idea when I'm going to post this. It'll be after CrossFit though. But I'm about to leave in 5 minutes probably. So I have been trying not to weigh myself because it just, not that it messes with me, but it kind of messes with me a little bit, so I'm just sort of because I feel like I gain and lose the same pound, here and there, whatever. And just, so I was trying not to do that as much. And then, just remembering thinking about averages over the course of the week. So if I'm going to weigh myself every day, what is my average, right? So I personally had, I didn't weigh for the first time in forever, I didn't take a scale with me on vacation. That was something I always had done in the past, but I did not do that. I didn't eat like crap, when I was at the games, but I definitely wasn't eating on my normal schedule. You're up early, you're out, you're coming back late, you're exhausted. I did not train the entire time I was at the CrossFit games. I did though do quite a bit of walking, and even on the days where I wasn't deliberately out walking a 5K, I was still walking 17,000 steps, even in just between events, right? Walking between venues and it's going to the bathroom and then, the stand up, sit down, fight, right? That goes on all day. If you've ever been to the CrossFit Games, you understand what I'm talking about. There's lots of walking. So I was still averaging like quite a bit of activity, not necessarily closing like my exercise ring all the way or whatever, like on my watch, whatever, but I was still definitely far exceeding like my like steps that I normally would take on an average day. So, and I wasn't super concerned about my food. And I was like, I enjoyed myself when if someone was like, oh, hey, let's get an acai bowl. Like I got one and whatever. And I like had hot dogs like every day for dinner in the Coliseum. Like, I mean, it wasn't like so it wasn't normal. And so I could not remember, and I didn't, like, for a reason, I wasn't looking at my phone about like what my weight was 5 weeks ago. And so today when I met with my coach and she was like, how's it going? I was like, it's been crazy the last month. And she's like, yeah, it's totally fine. Like, just be consistent, like whatever. And then I saw like Anna O'Brien, who's Glitter and Lasers. She talked about how she's on, I think it's Wegovy is hers. I don't think she's on Ozempic. I think it's one, because somebody had said something to her about like, oh, you've lost weight so quickly, you must have had, surgery. And then she's like, no, but, I'm on this. Hey, whatever, you do you, boo. Like, you got to use whatever tools you need to do to get there. And then she was like, oh, I lost 60 pounds in 3 months. And whether or not that's true, I don't know. I'm not her doctor. I'm not her. I don't care. But then like I heard her say that and I was like, oh my God, she lost 60 pounds in 3 months. Like, and then I had to like remind myself, like, lives in a very different body than I do, right? Like she's obviously much taller and heavier. And, of course she's going to lose weight very quickly in a large amount very quickly as she just kind of dials in her diet probably. And then she's, has the medical weight loss that she's doing with the Wegovy or however you say it. But anyway, so I was not feeling great. Like I was like, I will be thrilled if I've lost 2 pounds in the last 5 weeks. Like, oh my God, like, just because I just was not, I didn't feel, and again, like I didn't look at I don't know why I didn't look at the numbers, like, cause I had taken a picture of it. But I was like, oh, I'll be thrilled. Like if it's 2 pounds, like to be honest. And so I went in, did my check-in or whatever, and I lost 4 pounds. So I was at 196.4, almost 4 pounds, 196.4 5 weeks ago. And today I was 192.8. So what the hell? Like no clue what's going on, but a couple of things that are a little bit different, right? Like my fat mass, and again, I don't necessarily put a lot of stock in the impedance, right? About like fat mass versus lean mass and body fat, whatever. My muscle mass like reported down pretty significantly and my fat mass was up, a few pounds. And then my water weight was up like really significantly, like 5 pounds or 4 pounds or something. And I was like, what the hell? She's like, oh yeah. She's like, do you have your period? And I was like, yeah, right now. How did you know? And she's like, that's why all of this shit's all fucked up, right? Excuse me, right? Like your body fat's coming in high, like your water. And she's like, that's bloating, right? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've been doing really good with my hydration and, and stuff like that. But she's like, no, that's not from drinking water. She's like, that's like intercellular, like your body is like, that's what that is. And I was like, oh, okay. So super happy. And we're making some tweaks to my nutrition just because I feel I'm ready to do that. I am anxious to get to my goal, which first goal is 180. So I am effectively 13 pounds away from that. I would love to get to 160. I am trying not to be defeatist about that and say that that's not possible. It will be very challenging, I think, for me to get there. I have not, one time in my life when I was not doing things properly, I did weigh about 163, but it was not good. Like I wasn't eating properly and I was over exercising. And that's why I gained a significant amount of weight back at one point and then lost some again and then gained it back when I realized that I legitimately have a problem. Right. So, and now we're coming back down the other side of the mountain and really doing this like as flexible, like the most flexible as I can. I'm not saying that I don't pay attention to what goes into my body every day. I do. I am not tracking anything though. Like in my Fitness Pal, I have it on my phone, but I'm not tracking. And, but we are going to make some tweaks now because I feel like I'm in a good mental headspace to kind of dial some stuff in. And then see where that goes. Right. So just for fun, I ordered some trifecta meals, which is pretty popular in the CrossFit space. If you guys know Danny Spiegel, she's big on the trifecta meals. Those will be here tomorrow. Just one meal a day, just to like give me a pretty balanced meal, like at lunchtime, and then, fill in. I don't eat a big dinner because I train at night. So I come home and I'm like, hey, I'll have some cottage cheese and like maybe some scrambled eggs. Like, so my evening meal is like whatever, but where I kind of get into a rut a little bit is usually like breakfast and lunch. And so I'm going to try, the trifecta meals for lunch for a while. I was doing HelloFresh for a while, and then I just realized that the portions are too big. It's too much food for one person, for me personally. I mean, if you want to try it, by all means, God, go try it. It's great. All the recipes are delicious. They're super easy. But for me, it's like the smallest amount they have is like for 2 people. Well, 2 meals is like 6 meals for me. And it's a lot, and it's so carb heavy, which there's nothing wrong with. But for where I'm at right now, like I don't want to eat macaroni every day. Like that's just not, I mean, I could, but I don't want to. And so I'm going to try trifecta out for a while and just see. It's a little bit more expensive, than I like. But I was kind of doing the math, and I'm spending about the same amount of money right now on groceries as I would be on that stuff. So I'm just going to see, and we're going to try that. And then if I don't love it or whatever, I'll just go back to more traditional meal prepping, I think, and, portion everything out for myself, and just go from there. So, that's where I'm at. So I hope you're all doing fantastic. If you watch the CrossFit Games, let me know, what you thought of it. And then I will talk to you guys, because I don't have another check-in now for a month, because now we're checking in once a month. So, I will let you know in a month how things are going. So I will see you guys then. I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.